Sleep.
Right now, a bit of snow, but a whole bunch of cold. Chris is tracking several alert days as March gets off to a wintry start. If you think Wisconsin roads are worse this winter, you're not alone. Why crews are having a hard time patching potholes this year. Plus, I scream, you scream for CBD ice cream. The Madison restaurant selling the new flavor that's getting a lot of attention.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning. It's 8 o'clock on March 2nd. I'm Madeline O'Neill in for Josh this morning with meteorologist Chris Reese. Well, I know you love snow, so you must have been happy this morning.
Sure. I'll take it that much. It wasn't a whole lot that actually came down, but we did have a solid half an inch or so, just enough to make those roads slick on my way into to work this morning. But so far, a lot of that snow has come to an end. The temperature's still at 21, and there are a few flurries being reported at the airport right now. Winds out of the north at 9 miles per hour. Just to the south and east, temperatures are still warmer, 25 in Milwaukee and Janesville, 26 in Kenosha, but just to the northwest, you see the colder air on the horizon. A lot of folks to our north and west are in the teens. We're watching that snow move on out of here. Still some cloud cover in its wake. There might be some holes in that cloud cover later on today. That may allow for some sunshine to try to filter in, but for the most part, I do think a lot of us are going to be on the cloudy side of the spectrum. Expect those temperatures to top out right around 25, and then by Monday, we are talking wind chills as cold as 30 degrees below zero. So we do have alert days in our forecast once again, along with several of them going into the week ahead. Here's a look at your first alert traffic right now. This is the Beltline at Park Street. The plows have been out. They've gotten a lot of that snow off the road. I would know I was stuck behind them on the way to work this morning. Just about every plow in town was on my route. But so far we are seeing good travel conditions across the area. Let's keep it that way this Saturday.
Well, if you're sick of the snow, that's how we know it's getting bad. If you're sick of the snow.
Well, I'll tell you what, if it were not so dull and gray at this point, I feel like we need a nice fresh coating for me to love the snow again. It's gotten old. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Chris.
No problem.
Now, with those few inches of snow on the roads earlier, we wanted to remind you what happened during the last snow system. State Patrol says the 131-car pileup on I-41 was likely the biggest crash in state history. A science teacher died in that accident and more than 70 people were injured. Dashcam video shows whiteout conditions until it was too late to brake. Now, if you find yourself in a crash like that one or really on any accident on a major highway, State Patrol recommends you stay buckled up in your car to protect yourself from the elements and other vehicles. And remember, walking along busy roads is always dangerous, especially in slick conditions. Don't assume someone has called 911 and don't ask family or friends to come to the scene. Overall, be patient until help can arrive. Now, along with slick conditions, potholes continue to be an issue this winter. The bitterly cold and snowy weather has wreaked havoc on our roads. While the Madison Streets Division doesn't keep track of how many potholes it fills, the city tracks the amount of materials used in those repairs. From January 1st to February 25th of last year, the city used 81.1 tons of cold mix to patch holes. In the same time frame this year, they've used about half that at 46.15 tons. The Streets Division says that's because this winter is much colder and wetter than last year, making it harder to make repairs quickly. But if you do see a pothole in your area, you can report it by going to the Report a Problem page on the City of Madison's website. And if you see crews out filling holes, please move over for them. The deadline to remove shanties from the ice south of Highway 64 is this weekend, but the amount of snow and slush is making it difficult. Up in Mosinee, they had to get creative after their vehicles couldn't make it out on the ice. They were able to put a couple of horses to work instead, pulling the ice shanties through 3 feet of snow. In the Thinking Warm and Sunny Thoughts portion of this program, here's a story that might excite any runners and cyclists out there. Dane County's Park Commission is looking to accept a $146,000 grant to resurface the Capital City State Trail. A 6-mile stretch of the trail between Fish Hatchery and Seminole Highway was fixed up last year. The work also included new warning signs at crossings. This grant money would go toward that rehab. The city of Madison is issuing another request for proposals for a part of the Judge Doyle Square project downtown. In January, the city council reached an agreement with Beitler Real Estate to retake control of a portion of the project. The city is now looking to work with a different developer for that portion. The proposals being requested today are for the housing, commercial, or mixed-use development. Any proposals should be submitted by April 15th. Madison city officials are looking at updating the city's ordinance for pets in parks for the first time in almost 50 years. The current ordinance has been in place since 1973 and doesn't allow leashed dogs in parks. A Parks Commission subcommittee is now working on updating that ordinance to allow them. That would include doing research on possible changes this spring and taking public comments over the summer. Any proposed changes to the ordinance could be brought up by this fall. A girl from Heartland, Wisconsin, who is living with a terminal illness is asking for letters from dogs to comfort her. 7-year-old Emma Mertens is fighting a rare and inoperable brain tumor, according to a GoFundMe page. The family is asking for financial support and help comforting their daughter, and what better way than letters from dogs? This flyer has been making the rounds on social media. We also have it on our website, channel3000.com, showing where to send your letter to. We're told Emma's already received hundreds of letters since sharing her wish on social media. More local news now. The Badgers basketball team is hoping there isn't a hangover from Wisconsin's double overtime game at Indiana on Tuesday night as they take the court for their second to last home game today at the Kohl Center. The team is hosting Penn State at noon. The Nittany Lions are third to last in the Big Ten standings, and Wisconsin beat Penn State and Pennsylvania by double digits in January. But the Nittany Lions have made some steady improvements, winning their last 3 games. And as evidenced by Tuesday's loss at Indiana, Brad Davidson says you can't take any game for granted.
And that's the thing about the Big Ten. There is no easy games. Every game you got to show up, doesn't matter if it's home or away. So we got to be locked in right from the start. There's got to be that sense of urgency. You know, the game's all about momentum, and they got a lot of momentum going right now. So we got to make sure that we start out fast and just play our game. You know, we think everyone knows kind of how their season's been going, but you know, it's about us too at this point. So we got to just stay confident, play our game.
A lot of Bucks news this morning, breaking overnight. The Bucks are playoff bound. The team topping the Lakers overnight by a score of 131-120 to cement its place atop the Eastern Conference. Currently, the team has a record of 48-14, good enough to earn head coach Mike Budenholzer the Eastern Conference Coach of the Month for February, and Giannis the Player of the Month for the East as well. And in time for the playoffs, a former Laker is reportedly joining the Bucks. Center Pau Gasol, who is currently on the Spurs, agreed to a contract buyout. A group of more than 50 Wisconsin veterans are wrapping up their week-long trip to Vietnam today. For many, it was their first visit back since serving there more than 40 years ago. Most who served in the Vietnam War have never been back. For some troops, there is no interest. But for others, returning is a crucial part of the healing process. Marine Sergeant Wayne Perrette served 3 tours and is among the 52 veterans on the trip. CBS Evening News anchor Jeff Glore sat down to ask him about his experience.
I was born and raised on a farm. I never had anybody shoot at me until I got here, when I got to Vietnam.
What the hell does that do to a 19-year-old kid?
A 19-year-old kid shouldn't have been here. Back then, fighting a war. What do I know about war back then at 19?
Wayne says he still has nightmares as vivid as they were when he first got out of Vietnam. He hopes this trip will help take some of those away. The veterans return home tomorrow, and we will also have more of their trip tomorrow morning on our show starting at 6:30. Would you be able to turn off your phone and all electronic gadgets for a full 24 hours? It's a challenge many Americans are taking on this 10th annual National Day of Unplugging. Molly Rosen says her life exists on her phone, but she is participating in the National Day of Unplugging. Around 100,000 people have officially committed to a digital elimination diet that started Friday night and runs through today. Some are doing it for mental well-being, others are doing it to create community or to help the environment. Smartphone ownership has skyrocketed in recent years from 35% in 2011 to 77% in 2018. Another study finds Americans check their smartphones about 52 times a day.
We know that technology is interrupting and distracting us from real intention in our lives.
Plug effort. They hope you can turn off email, Instagram, and Facebook for the whole weekend. Grab your hand warmers and lots of layers if you're heading to the Freeze for Food Run Walk fundraiser this afternoon. Hundreds of people are expected to participate this year to make sure everyone in the city has enough food to eat. The event is held at Violet's Park, and money raised will go to Open Doors for Refugees. That's a nonprofit dedicated to helping refugees settle in the Madison area and making them feel welcome here. If you're not already signed up, you can register online up until the start of the race at 1 o'clock. A unique ice cream flavor for sale at a downtown restaurant is getting a lot of attention. Sujeo, located on East Wash near Festival Foods, is offering CBD ice cream. The restaurant has 2 flavors a week. It's partnered with Green RX to create the pineapple flavored ice cream infused with CBD. This week's second flavor is Fruity Pebbles, but you have to be over 18 to order the CBD ice cream. And speaking of Sujeo, that restaurant's chef, Tori Miller, is up for one of the biggest culinary prizes in the country. Tori Miller is one of the 20 finalists for the James Beard Foundation's Outstanding Chef Award. One of Miller's many restaurants, Le Trois, has been nominated twice for Outstanding Restaurant, and he won the James Beard Award for Best Chef in the Midwest in 2012. Meanwhile, Chef Johnny Hunter from Four Quarter is a semifinalist for that award this year. It's the 5th year in a row he's been nominated for Best Chef in the Midwest. James Beard Award finalists will be announced at the end of the month on March 27th. Well, it's currently 8:11. We're taking a live look over the Capitol now. We've had some more snow overnight. Chris is in next with your full first alert forecast on what's to come.
Well, about half an inch or so of fresh powder falling here overnight, but a lot of that snow now moving out of the area. Behind it, a lot of cloud cover and temperatures that are mainly in the 20s for a lot of folks across south central Wisconsin today. We're at 21 here in Madison. There are still a few flurries being reported at the airport right now, but temperatures are warmer towards the south and east. 25 in Janesville, 25 in Milwaukee, Kenosha at 26 right now, but then you work your way towards the north and west and you do see those temperatures are back into the teens. Black River Falls at 15 as we speak. Wind chills are a little bit colder by about 10 degrees in some spots. It feels like 11 here in Madison and Wautoma. It feels like 8 degrees right now, 12 in Janesville. So we are still seeing those winds come in out of the north and northwest at anywhere from about 9 to 15 miles per hour. We're going to keep that around going through most of the weekend as an Arctic region of high pressure begins to settle in on top of us. So here's Doppler track. You see a lot of that snow now over Michigan and moving away from us. There is still some light snow over parts of central Nebraska right now as well. That's a part of a disturbance that will really stay to our south and actually help to bring some wintry weather across the Ohio Valley this weekend. We'll see that snow move through Kansas and Missouri, then throughout parts of southern Illinois, Indiana, and parts of Kentucky. But for us, we are going to stay with the sunshine and perhaps a little bit of cloud cover at some times. But we're really going to watch this core of cold air dive in out of Canada and settle over the eastern half of the country, especially the northeastern half of the country. And that is going to bring some unseasonably cold air to us here in south central Wisconsin. Let's go ahead and take you hour by hour on some of the temperatures. We'll top out around 25 today, yes. Overnight tonight, though, we really begin to cool things down. We're going all the way down to 5 degrees and then not getting really that warm into your Sunday, perhaps 10 or 11 degrees at best. And then Sunday night, upwards to about 10 degrees below zero. Those wind chills Sunday night into Monday, a lot colder, perhaps negative 30. And then on Tuesday morning, negative 25, and then staying cold into Wednesday morning with those wind chills as cold as negative 18 or so. So we do have 3 alert days in your forecast, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, all for the cold that you could be dealing with, especially Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday mornings there. I know the alert day doesn't go into Tuesday, but that does include Tuesday night. I'm sorry, into Wednesday, but that does include Tuesday night and into Wednesday. But still plenty of cold on your forecast, though some sunshine, so that's good news. Perhaps another chance of snow showing up by the time we get you towards the end of the upcoming work week. We'll watch that later, but for now, focus is on the cold.
All right, thank you, Chris. If you need some fresh swag to cheer on the Badgers ahead of the Big Ten tournament and March Madness, you can head to a Madison staple. The University Bookstore is celebrating its 125th year serving the Madison community. They sent us these historical photos from the original State Street store that used to be called the University Cooperative Company. The bookstore is having a sale on Badgers gear at all locations as a thank you to the community for their support and loyalty over the years. And there's a new thrift store opened this weekend to raise money for the Dane County Humane Society. DCHS converted part of its adoption center into the store over the past few months. It's holding a grand opening celebration now through March 10th with special deals on store items. The Humane Society helps more than 9,000 animals each year. There's a new pop star topping Instagram's list of most followed women, and a beloved anime character is heading to theaters. And there are several shows and movies you should find time for this weekend. Will's in next with 3 things to watch. That's just ahead on News 3 Now this morning, Saturday.
Well, we had a few light flurries overnight. A lot of that now starting to move out of the area, but we've got a lot of cloud cover lingering in behind that. Doppler track shows the snow moving away from us. Temperatures are on the colder note, 21 in Madison, warmer towards the south and east, colder towards the north and west. As we plan the rest of the day, those temperatures will gradually begin to warm up towards about 25 for highs, but we're going to be keeping that cloud cover around pretty much all day. Perhaps a few breaks to allow some peaks of sunshine in the afternoon. Maddie?
All right, thank you, Chris. In entertainment news this morning, Janet Jackson is heading to Vegas. This week, the singer announced a new residency called Metamorphosis. Jackson will perform 15 shows starting on May 17th. And move over Selena Gomez. This week, Ariana Grande took the top spot and is now the most followed woman on Instagram. The Thank You Next singer boasts 146.3 million followers on the social media platform. She still falls behind soccer superstar Cristiano Ronaldo, who has more than 155 million followers. This weekend, you can watch several popular films without having to leave your house. Here's Will Loper's picks for the best films released on home video and this week's 3 things to watch.
England does not look so different from Scotland.
Aye, they are sisters.
New on home video this week is Mary, Queen of Scots.
Mary is our foe. We must never bow to her as we bow before you.
You have the boldness to doubt my judgment. She is only your queen if I should not produce an heir.
Margot Robbie and Saoirse Ronan play queens vying for the throne of England, trying to outgame each other.
Do not play into their hands. Our hatred is precisely what they hope for. I know your heart has more within it than the men who counsel you.
You would do well to watch your words.
I will not be scolded by my inferior.
You're inferior.
Mary, Queen of Scots is available to rent or buy everywhere now.
Your beauty, your bravery. Now I see there is no cause for envy.
Start churning butter and put on your church shoes, little sister, because we're about to blast off.
Ralph, what is it you're trying to say?
We're going to the internet.
What?
Also new on home video this week is Ralph Breaks the Internet.
Wow.
Ralph and Vanellope break out of the arcade and into the World Wide Web, where they find out what a viral video is and what makes a good friendship, as well as seeing some familiar faces.
Hi. Whoa, ladies, I'm a princess too.
What kind of a princess are you?
Do you have magic hair? No.
Magic hands?
No.
Do animals talk to you?
No.
Were you poisoned?
No.
Cursed?
No.
Kidnapped or enslaved?
No. Are you guys okay? Should I call the police?
Do people assume all your problems got solved because a big, strong man showed up?
Yes. What is up with that?
She is a princess.
Ralph Breaks the Internet is available to rent or buy everywhere now.
Ariel, listen to me. The human world, it's a mess. Life under the sea is better than anything they got up there.
Speaking of Disney princesses, one of its most classic films, The Little Mermaid, is out of the vault and on home video again for its 30th anniversary, so buy it before it disappears.
Under the sea, under the sea. Darling, it's better down where it's wetter. Take it from me.
There's music, there's water, there's a singing crab. Now, I don't know what else you could possibly want from a movie.
Don't be scared, you got the moves prepared. Go on and kiss the girl.
The 30th anniversary of The Little Mermaid is available to rent or buy everywhere now.
Part of your
Happy watching. Those are the 3 things you need to watch. This is Will Loper for News 3 Now this morning.
And looking ahead, Warner Brothers has released a new trailer for the upcoming movie Pokemon Detective Pikachu. The beloved anime character will be voiced by Ryan Reynolds, who's on a quest to help a young man find his missing father. The film hits theaters May 10th. There's much more ahead on News 3 Now this morning, Saturday. Grab your pen and paper, how you can help make the week of a Wisconsin girl living with a terminal illness. And here's proof that beauty comes in all shapes and sizes, and now major brands are celebrating that too. What's behind the latest push to change the face of fashion? When News 3 Now this morning continues. Right now, the changing face of fashion, stretch marks and scars are now visible on runways and in ads. What's behind this movement and who's behind it too?
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning. It's 8:30 on March 2nd. I'm Madeline O'Neill in for Josh today. We'll get a check on weather with Chris in just a few seconds, but first, let's get you caught up on today's headlines. Breaking overnight, the Bucks are playoff bound. The team topped the Lakers overnight by a score of 131 to 120 to cement its place atop the Eastern Conference. Currently, the team has a record of 48 and 14. That's good enough to earn head coach Mike Budenholzer the Eastern Conference Coach of the Month for February, and Giannis the Player of the Month for the East as well. And in time for the playoffs, a former Laker is reportedly joining the Bucks. Center Pau Gasol, who is currently on the Spurs, agreed to a contract buyout. A girl who is living with a terminal illness from Heartland, Wisconsin, is asking for letters from dogs to comfort her. 7-year-old Emma Mertens is fighting a rare and inoperable brain tumor, according to a GoFundMe page. The family is asking for financial support and help comforting their daughter, and what better way than letters from dogs. The flyer has been making the rounds on social media. We also have it on our website, channel3000.com, showing where to send your letter to. We're told Emma's already received hundreds of letters since sharing her wish on social media. If you live in Janesville and are looking to make dinner plans, you can now order in using a new delivery service starting up there. Madison-based Eat Street launched service in Janesville this week, hiring 50 drivers and working with 20 restaurants. Grubhub and DoorDash are already available in that city. Those kinds of services charge local restaurants around 20 to 30% of every bill, which is why some smaller restaurants might opt out. A unique ice cream flavor for sale at a downtown restaurant is getting lots of attention. Sujeo, located on East Wash near Festival Foods, is offering CBD ice cream. The restaurant offers 2 flavors a week. It's partnered with Green RX to create the pineapple flavored ice cream infused with CBD. This week's second flavor is Fruity Pebbles. You must be over 18 to order the CBD pineapple ice cream. Now, it's still kind of an icy world out there, Chris. Is it going to get any better soon? Not in the short term. If anything, things are actually going to get a lot worse. The temperature of 21 that we have out there right now is probably one of the warmer temperatures that we are going to see as we go through the next couple of days. Winds out of the north at 9 miles per hour, and a lot of us are seeing those temperatures in the 20s, especially towards the south and east of us. But as you work your way towards the north and west, you see more and more of those teens starting to move into the picture. That's what I think a lot of us, friends, are going to be dealing with as we go through the rest of the weekend. Some thicker cloud cover trying to move in to the south and west right now, as if the cloud cover is not pretty thick out there already. Temperatures are going to be staying in the 20s going through most of this afternoon. However, things change up as we go into early next week. By Monday, we could be talking wind chills colder than 30 degrees below zero. We are talking wind chill advisories and perhaps wind chill warnings for some showing up once again as bitterly cold air will take over the country for at least the start of early next week. Now, in terms of first alert traffic, if you're heading out on the Saturday, yes, we had the snow and yes, we're below freezing, but the plows have been out. They have laid down plenty of salt and plowed out any of that snow that was on the roadway. So for the most part, things are a lot smoother this morning, Maddie. All right. Thank you, Chris. Fan behavior is putting the future of youth sports in Wisconsin in jeopardy. Every year, many officials quit because of the way they're treated by people in the stands. Longtime football and basketball referee Jim Dolzy is in his 4th decade of officiating. He says in the state of Wisconsin, we have as many officials over the age of 60 as we do under the age of 60, saying 80% of new officials quit by the end of the 2nd season because of verbal abuse from the bench, but also from the stands.
We're having a difficult time finding people to work them. And that's one of the things that'll drive not only young officials away from the game, but it'll also drive young athletes away from the game because they see something there that they don't want to be a part of. Parents are being told to take a step back and just enjoy the game. Dolzy says schools have been forced to cancel and reschedule games multiple times. More local news now. A Willie Street nightclub that has faced controversy in recent months is back open this weekend under a new name, Prism Dance Club.
is the new name for what used to be known as Plan B. The club was at the center of a controversy in December when drag performers said they were told they could not change in the club's dressing room or bathrooms and had to change in their cars. The club's former owners said that was because the city inspector's office closed the space down to everyone. Ownership of the club changed hands in January. The new owners closed Plan B and announced the new Prism name last month. The next time you pick up a magazine catalog or browse a company's website, you'll see a new kind of model. These ones look like us, actual consumers. That includes men and women with scars and stretch marks and even physical disabilities. Michelle Miller sat down with some industry leaders to discuss this changing face of fashion.
I am so tempted to just go straight to the name.
Hi, my name is Raji Airy. Yes, that really is my last name, and it's spelled exactly the same.
Because the name says it all.
Says it all. I was meant to be an Airy model.
And she says posing for Airy, one of the nation's top lingerie brands, fulfilled her childhood ambition.
I remember coming to New York when I was a little girl, looking up at the billboards and being like, one day I want to be on that billboard.
You said that.
I said that.
That backbone, a necessity for an adopted child born in India and raised in West Virginia, living with polio.
I have 2 scars on my hips, I have scars on my legs, I have a scar on my ankle. Flipping through magazines and seeing these models that had no imperfections and feeling like, well, where do I belong?
She found the answer in 2014 with the Airy Real campaign, which abandoned photoshopping its models. Today, global brand president Jennifer Foyle says they're even bolder.
Airy Real has the opportunity to show every woman who she is, what she represents, whether she has a disability, or maybe she has a passion. What about that? Maybe she has a drive, a mission, a cause. We'd like to represent that too. Our role models express that 100%.
Airy received thousands of video submissions.
Hi there. Just a second. Much better.
I feel like women like me are often not the image that's in a bra campaign.
Marketing Vice President Stacy McCormick says former customers have now become the changing face of the industry.
I see tattoo girls. I see mommies who've had babies. Of course, we see.
Yes, the beauty of stretch marks and how they show up. Yes.
Vitiligo.
Yes.
Woman of a certain age. You know, diversity in race and ethnicity. And this young woman.
That's Chelsea Warner. She submitted her video, an absolutely amazing video. And she is a gymnast and absolutely loves Allie Raisman. You should have seen the union of those 2 women, but it was the beauty of a role model and someone that really looks up to her.
Ain't nobody quite like me. Get what you see.
It all comes down to the dollars and cents.
Retail analyst Marshall Cohen says marketers have caught up with the real world.
Competition has heated up. In almost every industry, you see less businesses competing for the same dollars. We're trying to capture the attention of very specific audiences and with great value. The recession of 2008 and 2009 was something that really caused businesses to step back and say, uh-oh, we need to rethink the equation. We need to find growth in any corner we can find it.
So it forced them to be more creative?
Exactly right.
That includes the men's department, too. Mickey Onverall is CEO of the popular men's brand, Bonobos.
We saw 3x the amount of traffic. We've seen strong growth, double-digit growth in our business. We've continued to see that. We've continued to see that accelerate.
Since your campaign?
Yeah.
Just this summer?
Yep, because what we have seen is that we put ourselves on the map. We're saying that we believe that it takes all sorts. So whether it's about, you know, your sexual identity, whether it's about the way you dress, whether it's about your body shape, your race, whatever it is, that we should essentially all be accepting and inclusive of many, many definitions of what it means to be a man. We featured a series of guys. This is Layla Melvin, who had this really interesting path from NFL player to astronaut, and now does a lot of work with girls around STEM education, both here and in Africa. This is Chris Mosier, who was the first transgender athlete to make a U.S. national team.
And more retailers have joined the bandwagon. J. Crew relaunched its brand late last year to introduce larger clothing sizes. Third Love embraces an aging woman in every form and stage of her life.
We're not at a point today where we're going backwards. This is a point where we're going forwards and going forwards with gusto.
And some retailers say what started as a business venture is quickly becoming a social responsibility.
Intimate apparel, a brand, can change the world.
Last summer, I was on a ferry boat, and this mom came over to me, and she said, "My daughter has an insulin patch. Thank you." Now my daughter goes out wearing a bathing suit proudly. And these little moments to me, and touching one person at a time, has become just a mission of mine.
Looking for something to do this weekend? We've got you covered. From an event for budding paleontologists to a comedy show from a former member of the Obama administration, there's something going on for people of all ages. Your Weekend 608 is next on News 3 Now this morning. Well, it's finally the weekend in the 608.
And here's a look at what's going on in and around the Madison area.
Let's kick off the weekend with some theater. The 1951 Rodgers and Hammerstein musical, The King and I, is now showing at the Overture this weekend. This one will bring audiences back to 1860s Bangkok. The touring production includes all the familiar songs such as Getting to Know You, I Whistle a Happy Tune, and Something Wonderful. Shows run through tomorrow night.
And it's easy to fall in love with this music. Tonight, the Sylvie welcomes Ben Rector, the Nashville-based pop music singer and songwriter. Ben's 2015 album, Brand New, landed in the top 10 on the Billboard charts. He released his 7th album, Magic, back in June. Josie Dunn opens the show, which starts at 8.
If you love politics and comedy, this one's for you. Head to the Orpheum tonight for a live taping of the weekly political comedy podcast, Love It or Leave It, hosted by John Lovett, a comedy writer and former speechwriter for President Barack Obama. Lovett and his panelists will discuss current events with wit and humor. The show starts at 8.
And wrapping up your weekend fun is a perfect family activity. Your budding little paleontologist will dig the 4th annual Dino Day all day long at Madison Children's Museum. Kids ages 5 and older can dig for fossils, measure a dinosaur, participate in dino yoga, and even create dino origami. Now, there are activities for children that are younger than 5 too. This all takes place from 10 until 5.
As always, grab a copy of this month's Madison magazine for all the best of the Madison area.
And you're taking a live look over the Capitol right now. Not very spring-like at all, and it may not feel that way for a while. I'm in next with your full First Alert forecast.
But first, let's look at who's 3 today. A very happy birthday to Dylan here.
Well, after the fresh snow that did come down last night, we are now seeing temperatures that are in the 20s, and they are going to continue to be falling as we go through the rest of the day. Just to the north and west, we already have a lot of those temperatures in the teens. 16 in Camp Douglas, Black River Falls at 17, same for Viroqua, Decorah, Iowa at 14 right now. And the wind chill in Decorah at 0, wind chills in the single digits to the north and west. Our Madison wind chill at 11. So that's 10 degrees colder than what our actual temperature is. We're seeing these winds come out of the north and northwest at 9 miles per hour right now. Anywhere from about 9 to 15 miles per hour is where you are going to find those sustained winds at the moment. And that's ushering in the dry air that is pushing away a lot of that snow well to our east. So we're going to stay dry but cloudy through most of the afternoon. There is a little bit of snow over parts of central Nebraska right along I-80 right now. That will not impact us. You can already tell how that's starting to move to the south, and that is going to continue to do so through the day as we watch a bigger storm system bring wintry weather to much of Missouri and to parts of the Ohio Valley. We are under the control of high pressure. That means we are going to stay sunny, but that also means we're going to stay very cold, especially as this high pressure allows the core of cold over Canada to really spill into the northern half of the country as we go through the week. We call this a trough, this dip in the jet stream, and this is going to be a pretty deep trough that allows a piece of the polar vortex to settle in over the upper Midwest once again. But that'll be quickly on out of here as we have some ridging starting to develop out in the west, and that'll bring at least some moderated temperatures towards the end of next week. But hour by hour, we'll top out around 25 today, cooling down towards 5 degrees tonight and not warming up all that much into your Tuesday, or I'm sorry, your Sunday. I'm a day ahead here, but we'll see those temperatures right around 10 degrees for highs on Sunday, cooling down to -10 on Monday. And actual wind chills into Monday morning could be as cold as -30 in some spots. And so that's going to cause problems, especially if you do not have the proper layers. But we've gone through this once before this winter, so surely we can be prepped up to do it again. By Tuesday morning, -25, getting better by Wednesday morning, but still -18 when it comes to those wind chills. So 3 alert days, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, all for the cold that is coming into our forecast. But things will moderate, and our cold is coupled with sunshine, so that is at least good news. But with moderation comes chances for snow towards next weekend. We'll talk about the snow, but I think the focus is going to be the cold. For now, speaking of cold, Rusty and Daisy and Muscadet are playing in the snow.
They don't mind it.
They don't mind it. They blend right in.
Yeah, I wish I was as happy as them to be outside.
I've been as happy as them to be outside.
I know
right
you
now,
have.
not so much, but yes.
All right, stick with News 3 Now all day long. We'll have more news ahead tonight at 6 and 10. But first, meet the Cat Cop. Yes, you heard that right. What this four-legged feline's job is on the force and the many ways he's making a difference. Welcome back. He's perhaps the most adorable officer on the South Charleston Police Department.
And weighing in at 8 pounds heavier than when he was first joined to the force, this cat cop is making a difference in more ways than one. Jesse Schaefer reports.
He snacks a lot. He gets distracted easily.
He's getting his camera face on.
He tends to sometimes sleep on the job. But despite it all, South Charleston's cat cop could be the biggest hit of the department.
You're about to meet a star. We love him. I don't know what we'd do without him now.
So Chaz, who is very aptly named for the city he represents, grew up on the streets. Until last year, he hung out outside of the station, finding scraps of food where he could. That way of life, well, it didn't last long.
The chief decided he was going to be our station cat.
And that was the moment that changed it all. After a quick neuter and round of shots, So Chaz was ready to get to work. Okay, look, I'll be honest. So Chaz really loves a long cat nap, maybe some cuddles. Police work, he leaves that to the pros.
We don't let him in the back with the prisoners, but he stays around in front, and every time somebody comes in, he has to come in and interview him himself.
So it's safe to say that the South Charleston Police Department is definitely pet-friendly, but inside of this station, this cat is so much more than just a cat.
A lot of the officers have told me that they've, when they've been out on night shift and stuff and had a bad call, they've come in and sat down with him and petted him and played around with him a little bit and felt a little better afterwards. He's our therapy cat.
An important job, no doubt. So Chaz also makes it a bit easier for a victim to tell their story to police.
Calms them down a little bit.
Yeah, call it a success story. Call it community outreach.
That's one less cat that went to the shelter and one less cat out on the street.
No matter what you call it, the folks who work at the department will tell you that they need this cutest recruit just as much as he needs them. In South Charleston, I'm Jesse Schaefer, 13 News, working for you.
Settler added that spaying and neutering your pets is the key to managing overpopulation. What a cutie. We need a station cat.
Absolutely cutie. I know. I'd love a station cat just walking around. I'm sure that would make the weather interesting.
Yeah. Interesting is the word for it.
It's been cold lately, and we're going to keep that cold around, especially as we go through the start of the work week. 3 alert days in your forecast. Monday's high 6. Congratulations, you have won spring here in South Central Wisconsin. We just won't get it for a while, staying wintry through the next 10 days. Chances for snow Thursday, Friday, and Sunday next week. We'll focus on that when we can, but for now, it is the cold that does have dangerous wind chills.
All right, well, thanks for watching. We'll see you tonight at 6.